Hello everyone, my name is Sofia Björkman and I come from Stockholm in Sweden. First of all, I would like to thank you so much for having me and take your time to listen to me. I did look forward to come to Taiwan, but happy we can do the talk in this way instead. The year has been a challenge in many ways, and we meet through digital technology more than ever. I wanted to see you in real, but technology also favors exchange. And now, I would like to welcome you to my talk. I am a jewelry artist and I run Platina in Stockholm, and will give you an introduction to what I have shown in the gallery and how I work in my artistic practice. Please send me questions and share your thoughts. Welcome! 7 years ago, a photographer asked me which tool is the most important for me. Often we can see portraits of makers with their favorite tools, and so did he want to photograph me. Without doubt, I said my favorite tool is my phone, because I always have it with me and I use it a lot for all kinds of things. The photographer and I started to play around with the phone's flashlight, and it ended up being jewelry. By then, I thought it was interesting to make jewelry without material. Today, 7 years later, it got another meaning, I think, when we use internet to communicate more than ever. I started to work with jewelry about 30 years ago. And what differs now from then is that images have been the largest media to show works. But still, we think of jewelry and craft in general as objects. Objects usually made by hand, and objects made by artists and artisans. Today, we can always virtually see what's going on in the fields. I was trained as a maker and sit here now and show you images. I hear people's longing for physical meetings, authentic feelings and expressions, the real thing. But what does that mean? What is an authentic feeling? What is the real thing? Do we think metal when talking about jewelry? Do we think object when talking about crafts? The difficult questions push me forward, and I have chosen to work both as an artist and curator. I can also call me a lot of other things, but the most important for me is not what I am, it is what I do. For me, the two professions are not so different from each other as one can think. Both contains experimentation, making, spreading knowledge, put things in context and finding languages beyond the words. I graduated from Konstfack in Stockholm 1998. A year after, and together with 2 friends, I started Platina Gallery and a studio for contemporary jewelry. And since graduation, I've been working with all kinds of activities within the jewelry field. We did open Platina, but we didn't start Platina as a gallery. Platina became a gallery. At that time we opened up, we just said that Platina for contemporary jewelry, and that included a lot of different types of work within the field. We thought that the gallery, the word, limited our opportunities to work broadly with different kinds of projects and to work with artists ourselves. But it seemed like the audience and people within the field wanted Platina to be a gallery, so after a while it ended up to be one. And since the start, we have shown many exhibitions. We have also shown films, we had talks, we have done workshops and organized seminars and a lot more. Since 2009, I run Platina myself, but I will continue to say we and not me, because I have always collaborated with others, and I still think that is very important. I will show you a few examples of exhibitions we have done and how different they can be. I won't show them in order of time, but randomly, and because of the limitation of the time for the talk, just very short about the works. I want more to give you an idea of what we have been showing during the years and how different the exhibitions can be from each other. Miro Sastic and Karen Potopedan filled the floor with white feathers. The visitors had to walk through the feathers to see the exhibition. Musical instruments and jewelry are similar in a fundamental way. You don't throw them away. If either were to break or become damaged, one would rather put them up for donation in hopes of sustaining its existence. It is in this way that the group A5, Adam Grinovich, Romina Fuentes, and Annika Pettersson came into contact with the piano, and the project ended up with 140 kilos of jewelry, piano jewelry. This is an exhibition by Agnes Larsson. Both the display and the pieces were mysterious. Agnes Larsson's pieces may look heavy, but are surprisingly light and moves because of the crackulations. The pieces are made in carbon, which is very light material, and covered with iron powder to make the rusty metal look. Pia Olleborg questioned the traditional way of displaying and turned the gallery into a private office and showed unconventional big-sized pieces. Jewelry in context fascinates her, and the strangeness of unexpected materials, shapes, and unexpected environments. We have had 3 exhibitions by New Zealand-based artist Lisa Walker, and this is her second exhibition at Platina, and she called it Sometimes. Jewelry artist Aud Charlotte Husuk Sinding also made very big-scaled pieces in a mix of different materials. In the foreground, we can see her body of work Extreme Makeover. The pieces are made in silicone, to which she added pearls and faceted stones. She was fascinated by the TV programs on lifestyle, where experts on style, training, and diet are creating the idols. Decorating our bodies with fat that we normally want to hide is an inverse act and provocative for many. You enter a gallery to see an exhibition, but the first glimpse there is nothing to see. You keep on walking through the room with the feeling that the artworks are gone. The gallery sounds hollow, though the rooms are not empty. Hilde de Decker created an exhibition where she wanted the visitors to see beyond the artworks. What is jewelry, and what is an art exhibition? What are we supposed to look at? And in the exhibition, we've found pieces like this, works that talks about jewelry, but is it jewelry? Tanel Vendren had an exhibition at Platina 2011. The title was Paradise Regained. The visitor asked, "Where is the exhibition?" But the secret is that you have to enter the white room to see the exhibition. And when you do so, you find his pieces behind the doors. Jorge Manila's work challenges us to confront the deepest feelings and fears we usually try to avoid. The work is dark, twisted, and broken forms made of cut leather, which reminds of hopeless knots in one's stomach, and that the horrifying, in fact, can be very beautiful. When inviting to an exhibition, we do not just invite to an exhibition, we invite the audience to an artist's world, to another reality. Hannah Hedman's exhibition also talked about the dark sides in life and the contrast to beauty. The work merged from aesthetics of loss, personal inner darkness, imitated nature, and talismanic objects. blossoming in sentimental flowers that imitate still life paintings, became preserved into metal. For the exhibition Sense Mapping, Iris Eichenberg wrote, "How is it that a color can evoke the sensations of smell? And how does weight, not touched, not carried, trigger a strengthening of our muscles? How can we feel the pulling and stitching in our hands? How does the process of crafting work enable our hands to think? Or is it the hand at work which informs our thinking? The unconscious recognition of tactility, sound, size, smell, and temperature of environment is what allows us to differentiate one context from another. These contexts are filled with the eventness of materials in conversation with each other." We have been using different displays to try to avoid glass showcases. Christina Lauris uses here very thin layers of wood to present her work. Ruud Peters became a professor at the University of Art in Stockholm 2005, so we invited him to have an exhibition and to show the work Azov in these water bowls. This is from Agnieszka Knap's exhibition, "A Rose is Bleeding Out of Its Ears." The artist dressed up as Dr. Knap, and like psychologist Rorschach, she asked the visitors what they could see in the works, and then she used the answers in further work. Matt Lambert was born in Detroit in the United States and was raised between there and a national park in Canada. The background from an urban city and the wilderness in Canada has characterized his artistic practice, as well as queer and hybrids in all its meaning. And this is from an exhibition by artist Lisa Björke. Her father was a plumber, so she has been making pieces on the theme. Therefore, we displayed all the pieces in a basement high up under the ceiling, along with other plumps, real plumps. Knockoff was a pair of solo exhibitions from Mallory Weston and Adam Greenwich. The exhibitions pair the two artists and highlights the shared interest in what jewelry means in terms of history, subcultures, and a universal language of ornamentation. We found new media, digital culture, emerging technologies, and contemporary symbols, kitsch, and appropriation. In the exhibition, Mallory Weston showed work that can be viewed in two ways. It's hand-carved stone pendants made from fluorescent minerals, the types of rocks that appear very normal under natural light, but under UV light, they glow in spectacular bright neon colors. Think that neon signs are more grayish when they are not turned on, and sparkless when the light is turned on in the nights. Adam Greenwich's work attempts to express jewelry through its most basic and iconic forms. The faceted stone, an object of desire, is a central element that is put together in all his pieces in this series. The stones are arranged into complex pieces as necklaces, brooches, and rings, use techniques both traditional and 3D printed steel. The exhibition was displayed in 2 floors, and upstairs the color was grey. And downstairs we found Mallory Weston's sparkling pieces. They shine bright under the UV light. I think it is sometimes pleasing to use bright colors in dark rooms. And this is from the 10th anniversary we had 2009. I invited a large number of artists that we had been working with during the years. And everyone got a jewelry box to fill with whatever they wanted. For example, on the second table in this image, you see a white brooch in a box, and I will share you a letter I got. Hi Platina, good luck with your 10th anniversary. I'll send you this brooch for some reasons. Before I went to Stockholm, I had a look on Stockholm from above, supported by Google Maps. I had an idea to make brooches out of some views. As a route out of this, I send you this house and a garden seen from above, in the snow, or as a fiction, or a dream house. And it fits perfectly into the box because of the size, form, color and style. And the black box hides the brooch, and the white paint hides the surface. And maybe it will snow on your 10th anniversary. And then everything looks fresh, and the air smells brilliant and clear. Regards and best wishes from Volker Attrops in Germany. Most of the exhibitions have been in the gallery, but I do also curate exhibitions at other spaces. I collaborate with other galleries, museums, institutions, and private spaces. This image is from the first bigger exhibition we did outside our own space. It was 2000. We were invited to a 300 square meter space, so we thought it was a good idea to make houses in the space. It was during the winter, and we called the exhibition Frozen Garden. Unfortunately, we were not so good in documenting our projects the first years, so I jump now 5 years to another exhibition we had in another garden. And this exhibition was in Edvard Andersson's greenhouse at Stockholm Botanical Garden. We invited a number of artists who had been working with nature as a theme in different ways. In the foreground, you can see work from David Bielander. When using spaces that's not in the gallery space, we have to think about other things that we normally don't have to think about. For example, we had to make showcases that looked good even if the plants got watered. So we made them look like water bubbles. And they should also be light and mobile, so the people that was working there easily could move them when they had to do the gardening. We showed works from about 20 artists, and here is a bracelet by Miriam Norinder, showing that there is as much underground as above ground. And here you can see 2 necklaces by Ella Bauer. Enter Platina Jewellery was the title of an exhibition we did in another gallery in South Sweden. The gallery normally don't show art jewelry, so we wanted to do a pedagogic exhibition about the jewelry, an easy way to let people in our jewelry world. So when people get together in Sweden, we do so very much by inviting people to our homes. This is a way to get to know people. The text on the floor is Swedish. It tells the names of rooms in a house: living room, bathroom, kitchen, and so on. Within this image of a house, we showed works from 24 artists, and we wrote a text. When visitors have parked Ted Noten's Mercedes-Benz next to Mayakini's houses, taking the first step over the threshold, stepped into the hall and continued through the rooms in the building and out again onto the terrace, they will have been able to prod and squeeze Iris Eichenberg's heart, eat Anna Atteling's pralines and Sam Tudong's cherries, with Monica Strasse's enormously beautiful jewelry made of silverware and cutlery. Visitors will have noticed how their blood can drop from Cissi Westerberg's pocket. We will have come out of Auli Leitenen's closet, gone to the ladies' room with Lucia Vogt, and washed their hands with Celio Braga's decorated body soaps. Furthermore, Odd Charlotte Husuk Sinding's birds will be singing why Ulrika Svärd recounts the price of gold. So for example, in the bedroom, we show this brooch by Karen Pontoppidan and the tie by Auli Laitinen. And in the bathroom, we show brooches made by Kalms by Lucia Vogt and this cameo brooch by Charlotte Husuk-Sinding. Nano was an exhibition we had together with Studio 44 in Stockholm and Grupo Doc from Brazil. 200 artists were invited to make an artwork not bigger than 10 by 10 centimeters. The huge space was filled with small artworks, and the visitors got a magnifying glass at the entrance so they could see all the small details. 2014, I celebrated the 15-year anniversary. To celebrate an anniversary is like putting a frame around what we have done. For this exhibition that took place at an old factory that now is an art space, I invited 15 artists that I have been working with and made a catalog including 15 exhibitions during the years. Katarina Hellson is one of the artists in the exhibition. The starting point for her work is very often the material in itself. And this time she had been working with sand. She made a clay with the sand that she formed into chains. Maybe it looks very fragile, but surprisingly it's not. And here you can see works by Hilde de Decker. And this is works by Tobias Alm. In the two showcases, you can find objects that looks like tools, and this looks like they are made of human skin. It is said that after 10,000 hours, the tools you use became like extensions of your arms. And so are these hybrid objects. At this time, I started to work with AGF, Art Jewellery Forum. AGF is a non-profit organization to advocate for the international field of contemporary art jewellery. We do so through education, discourse, appreciation and support for the field of art jewellery. A group of 25 jewellery collectors and enthusiasts came to Sweden. And here I am speaking with Linda Peshkin and showing her the work of Lisa Walker. AGF actively advocates for the international field of contemporary art jewelry, and we aim to stimulate the marketplace and increase the knowledge of consumers, artists, curators and gallerists through organized events and through the website. And above all, our goal is to give visibility and value to contemporary art jewelry. This image is from European Triennial for Contemporary Jewellery 2017 that was organized by Warcraft Council in Belgium. 2 countries were invited to exhibit with artists from Belgium, and I was invited to curate the Swedish selection. France was the other country, and the exhibition was also shown in Paris and then in Stockholm. Often I get questions how I combine the work of an artist, a gallerist and curator. I find it like a puzzle. I want all the parts to be there to make the whole. I want to understand the process from idea and to put the works into context. Very often I'm invited just because I do all these different things in the profession. I'm often invited both as an artist and a gallerist. And I will give you an example of how I collaborate with others. Thomas Kohn was a fine art gallerist from Sao Paulo in Brazil. When he got older, he told me that before he passed away, he wanted to do one more step in his life. And this step was to work with art jewelry. At the time he started, he was not oriented in the field, and I said to him that I could help him with the contacts. And in turn, he invited me to Sao Paulo to have an exhibition. It was 2 exhibitions in one as an artist and one as a gallerist from Platina. And then I was also contacted by Mirna Kolrokovas to give a workshop. And this is an image from that one. It became wild. First we made pieces and then we showed them in a photo studio. The result became more like a performance. Mirna Kolrokovas is also an artist and curator. And 2 years after the Sao Paulo trip, she came to Stockholm. And with her, she had brought her own work, but also works from people living in the Amazonas that she had been working with. Another example is when I was invited to Melting Point in Valencia in Spain in 2018. I was invited to give a lecture at the seminar at EASD Art School in Valencia and to do a solo show at the González Martí National Museum, as well as to curate a gallery exhibition at the same museum. And here I am with Katja Prince and Marie Ishikawa, who also exhibited during the Melting Point. And to the right is Karin Roy Andersson, who's also an artist and ran a Gallery 4 here in Sweden. And this is an image from the solo exhibition. And in the exhibition, I showed works from 20 years back. And here is an image from the gallery exhibition. In the way I work, I meet all over people, visitors in exhibitions, clients and artists who I work with, but also people I meet on travels, seminars, and so on. I hear comments on what they see and what they have to say about works. And I see the opportunities at the boundary between the makers and the audience. When I show works, it means I open up for interpretations, and everyone sees works differently. What differs jewelry from other art areas is that you can wear jewelry and easily move it around from one context to another, which I find very interesting. Mobility and flexibility broadens a piece's potential to impact and cause various types of reactions. The reactions and comments on jewelry pieces differ depending on where they are displayed, if it's in an exhibition, on social media, studios, or if they are worn, if they are shown private or if they are shown public. I have researched in how comments on jewelry can be used in the artistic practice and how correspondence between the artist and the audience can develop communication and make the dialogue rich. Stories leads to other further stories. So working as a curator and do exhibitions in the gallery and outside gallery and meet the audience is very interesting for me, and I use it in my artistic practice. So I will now show you some works that I have made and tell you about my working method. This is a brooch I made some years ago. It's casted in silver and then I made it dark. Someone saw it and said, "It reminds me of something the forest has taken over." Positive and melancholy feelings, even though it looks very dark and bleak. My thoughts remain in the time when I was a child and built a hut in the forest. It is dark outside, the night is clear, a friend is here. I am enjoying. After he had said that, I made one more brooch and wrote, "Something bleak can be the source of something sublime. Melancholy can in some ways be transformed into something enjoyable. Difficulties fascinates because in moderation it is enlivening. Parts can be understood in terms of a whole from parts. Annoyance creates movement. What I do not understand is difficult. It teases, it tickles and triggers. It attracts like elves' seduction. What is hard makes me cry, my body cramp and my lips sting. The sun shines bright but dazzles. Things look different in the cloud's shadow. A humid air makes me alert, and I am reminded that the air is not empty. I showed this piece to a man, and he read what I wrote, and I got back from him a text. And he wrote, "It is an insect's nest, a nest to be proud of. It reminds me of my entangled life, something to get rid of, and at the same time something I want to keep. If it was blue as the sky, we would love each other. I am in the sky, here is calm before the storm, the noises rest in silence." So then I made some insects and their nests. A boy said, a surface I had made looked like the skin of a lizard. So I casted a small lizard in silver. In my casting machine I found a dead spider. So I casted the spider in gold and made spider webs in gold. Spider webs are beautiful, but once you get it on your body, it's difficult to get rid of. I made more spider webs in gold, and they started to look wild. I told a friend that I tried to work with wildness, but I find it difficult. And he replied, "I went out to look for horns, and when I came back I found everything in a mess. I wonder what the bird has done." I find all these comments very interesting, and I have written them down. And after this I also started to make drawings. I got a 3D pen as a birthday gift and made 3-dimensional drawings. So I made a lot of drawings with the 3D pen. Drawings, and then I put the drawings together so they became even more 3-dimensional. This is a big necklace. It's about like this size. And it's one of the first pieces I made. The material I use is a bioplastic and it's made from cornstarch. I made a lot of pieces in this series, brooches, necklaces and all kinds of pieces and objects. And I call the series, "What Has the Bird Done?" Ever since prehistorical times, wildlife and wild nature has been important for jewelry, as material with symbolic meaning. Bones, teeth, stones, shells have been more and less transformed into jewelry and tell us about geographic locations, fauna, diets, beliefs and behavior. Religion, culture, geographical origin, social relations play then great role in our perception of the wilderness. I try to draw all this and put it together. Wilderness, nature, environment. The ever-growing pollution of our environment, where man-made materials have become parts in the natural landscape, can be a discussion around who we are today and what we think is wilderness, what we consider wild, wild behavior, wild look, natural, artificial, precious and non-precious. We can also discuss it now when it comes to spreading diseases. So I started to work with the environment. This is a brooch and an example of what I made after I had been studying some landscape paintings. So imagine this is a hill with trees, and I started to think about how it would look like after a big fire. And I made different landscapes, a lot of landscapes, burnt landscapes. I made burnt trees, burnt leaves from the trees. I made burnt plants. Everything turned black. The black was kind of depressing, so I wanted to do something else, but still I wanted to have the fragile feeling. So I made the pieces as they were frozen and turned them like to be made of ice or even glass. But someone described them as fishes, and they were talking about fishings and the feeling of getting a fishbone in the throat. I found that very inspiring, so I made a series of jewelry with the fishing feeling. So I made fishes, a lot of fishes, and fish bones. The materials is polycarbonate, the same material that is used for making water bottles, plastic water bottles. But the thing is that water bubbles, we have too much them in our seas. So again, I work with the environment. And here's another example of a piece. It's a brooch. But last winter, my work in the studio took a new turn. I started to use colors. It was like the landscapes and creatures and fishes turned into life again. And I also made flowers, a lot of flowers, light pink little flowers like cherry blossoms, flowers to decorate. I was completely beyond my comfort zone then. I didn't understand why I made these pieces, and I didn't understand why I made flowers and not pink flowers. I was not prepared by the turn. But I didn't stop. The flowers grew and I made many pieces. I had control over them now, and the work turned to be about gardening more than wilderness. The work resulted in a collaboration between me and Liana Pattis from London. We made a wall installation which was shown at Collect Open in London in February. We called the installation Vertical Jewellery Garden. Gardens have an enchanting quality that has inspired artists of all kinds, as they combine both the poetic and the mysterious. They represent spaces which are so much more than just cultivated plots of land. They promote healing and learning, create romantic bonds, and can even send one into magical realms. The garden has always been an important space where everyone could interact, as it fundamentally represents inclusion and community. Gardening itself also carries symbolic meaning, as being one with nature not only nourishes the soul, but also nourishes the earth. This promotes a sense of cooperation and even codependence. As Voltaire famously wrote, we must cultivate our garden, a symbolic parallel for one's personal growth. The piece in porcelain is Liana Pattis, and the other piece is mine. So I put the piece on so you can see the size of it. It's one of my garden pieces. The piece in porcelain with chains is Liana Pattis. Liana and I agree with each other that the poetic as well as the symbolic meanings of gardens and gardening can also be referenced in jewelry field as a whole, where cooperation, inclusion, diversity and community are very important in promoting creativity and personal growth. So using the garden as the inspiration for this project therefore was a perfect choice for us. The installation was planned to be shown in other exhibitions, but every plan was changed due to the coronavirus. Artworks haven't traveled or been exhibited, but I now understand why my work became flowers. Flowers symbolize the short-lived beauty of life, and I was working with hope. Now I work with the sun. The sun is on my workbench, and I made myself a golden crown. Thank you for taking your time to listen. This was an introduction to my jewelry world, to my world as a gallerist to run Platina Gallery in Stockholm, and to my artistic practice. Please send me questions and share your thoughts. I would be very happy to hear what you think. I will answer them as much as I can. Feel free to contact me whenever you like, and I do hope we can meet again in the future, both in real but also virtual. Thank you so much again, and goodbye.